Hey, tribe. I'm KamalaDevi. My pronouns are they, their, them. And I am celebrating Pride, obviously, with my big colorful flag. I wanted to do a little video about social justice, which I know that's a huge topic. I just from the heart wanted to share some recent reflections, especially of the personal nature. It is Pride Month, and I'm, saddened actually. I mean, I'm celebrating and I'm mourning. Uh, not going to Pride this year for the first time in many, many years is hard for me. But I'm also really touched by, the recent developments, and I'm ecstatic about the vision and the possibility of change right now. So specifically, for those of you who don't know me, I came out as lesbian in, oh God, when I was 15 years old, which, yeah, just a context, that was, definitely through high school and college. And after college, I was the director of the gay, lesbian, bisexual, transgender festival, Pride Festival in Honolulu. And so that's 97, like that's over 20 years ago, which blows my mind. But it's also beautiful because I've gotten to see the progress, like through the years, so much like transformation, growth, development. And although most people know me as, polyamorous and are not surprised, to hear that I'm pansexual, it's really kind of new for me to be sharing about being gender transcendent, but not new inside. It's mostly because now there's language for that. Now there's community around that. And when I was first coming out, it's like, are you gay? Are you straight? Like there weren't a whole lot. There wasn't polyamory. I had never even heard of. So I'm coming out as the world is coming out. It feels really liberating. And liberation is what I want to talk about. And it's not just gay liberation. When I look at why my soul is here, I feel really strongly that I'm bringing love, that I am love, bringing love. I'm also bringing power and freedom to people. And we can't have, freedom, partial power or power over people. And so what touches me so passionately about the Black Lives Matter movement right now is that there's a huge light being shined on all the cracks, all the corruption, all the places of systematic injustice. And we have an opportunity, to upgrade, to clean that up. And so, I, like many of you, probably sometimes get despondent. And I was like, what can I do? It feels so big. It feels bigger than me. It's not my doing, and especially like, cause I'm a woman of color. I'm both Mexican, Jewish, and not just that. I'm also a woman of immense privilege, and there's this thing of like, okay, well, I have my perspective, and I'm doing my work in my quadrant, but I feel like this is now, especially with the Black Lives Matters, it's a humanity issue. It's about all humans. It's no longer about, like Mexicans are working for Mexican pride or this or that. It's like, hey, humans are working for social justice. It's so much bigger than us. And the what can we do finally is starting to feel hopeful and optimistic to me. And even though I can't go out into the streets right now, I live with my elder father-in-law, my 13-year-old son, and I'm choosing, not to be around too many people, but I can, allow the Black Lives Matter movement to transform my writing, my speaking, my coaching, which is why I'm sharing with you about it. and wanting to inspire you to look at, well, what is your circle of influence? Because it may not be, in a big political arena, but we all have friends and family. We all have some sphere of influence in which we can share, our hearts and have the difficult conversations. And the difficult conversations sound like deep inquiry, like what's my part in it? What's my role? Where am I prejudice? Where have I been participating in this discrimination? Where are there injustices of power? And yeah, and to act locally. It is a global thing, but I mean, it's now like one of the biggest civil rights, revolution movements that we've seen. It's really exciting 2 weeks in. And yeah, I'm delighted to see that there's a lot of change happening. And one little example of the change, I'm looking over the Pride Festival that's organized here in San Diego, and they are asking law enforcement not to participate until they've complied with the, 8 can't wait. Like there's this movement towards here, the 8 measures that the law enforcement takes so that it is, not corrupt, but actually supporting, like in a just way. And you can research those and look them up. But at first, when I found out that the law enforcement wasn't going to participate at Pride, I was like, oh, that's scary and sad for me, because I remember how empowering it was to see the cops out in uniform, representing. And it's like, well, what about the gay cops? And of course, they can celebrate Pride out of uniform and celebrate who they are. And then when the police force complies, then they can, come back and represent, which is wonderful, to know that there's a movement here in San Diego to make a change. And I know this is happening in cities across America and then also across the world. And I guess I'm just sharing that there is change happening, and there's real reform happening, and there's a real opportunity to make a difference right now. And even if the protests die down, or even if you can't make it out, you can still be a part of this transformation, and to not get apathetic, especially those of us who have been doing this work for a really long time. It's so easy to be like, yeah, I already did that. I've already looked inside. I've already overcome my prejudice. I've already, like, I'm not part of the problem. And when we really look deeper, there's other layers. As a Tantra teacher, I want to remind you, it's kind of like when I'm out in the world sharing, like, let's overcome our guilt, our fear, our shame about our bodies and about sex. And if someone's like, I already did that, it's laughable. It's like, unless, we live in a sex positive world where society doesn't have these hangups, until our work isn't done on the inside, until it's done on the outside. And I feel that way about racism and sexism and ageism, but particularly, about Black Lives Matter right now. So I hope you'll be touched and inspired by this, and you'll look to your left and your right and look at what is your part in this puzzle. Like, we're all in it together. And although we might feel separated and alone right now, I think that's part of why I, put this picture up, to like we can all do our part. Even if it seems small, it's so important and valuable. So thanks for listening. I'm looking forward to connecting and being a part of the change with you.